Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the confidence architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you. And today we're gonna encourage you. I'll tell you what, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I think I'm blushing today. Yes, I'm blushing, and I never blush. I have a dear friend of mine. You're in for a gift of an episode today. Yes, it's a gift because it's wrapped up. And I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, right now, get out your pen, get out your paper, because you definitely want to take some notes on the wisdom that you're going to hear today. And my spiel, when you write down something, you retain over 50% of it. That we can go back and study the notes. So get out your pen and paper early today, because you're in for a treat today. Let's welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, a dear friend, Colette Brown. Colette!
Yay, Daniel. Thank you. What an introduction. That is beautiful hearing it coming from you. You are a very special person to me, and we are just kindred spirits on the same trajectory in life of helping others. And it is just so beautiful to share the space with you. Thank you.
Well, I know, first of all, I love because you're wearing green, right? We're great minds think
Yeah.
alike.
Manifest.
I know the amazing individual you are, the beautiful human being. Do me a favor, introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, please.
My name is Colette Brown, and I am a personal wellness advocate. I was sick, unwell for over 20 years and struggled in my health journey trying to find answers and couldn't. And it wasn't until a nurse, when I was in the ER and admitted to the hospital, thinking I had a heart attack, whispered in my ear, I think you have something called leaky gut, that led me down a path to find a medical doctor who was also a functional medicine practitioner, who led me to my overall well-being, starting with food. And I thought I ate really healthy, and I had no idea. And I even ate healthier than FDA standards. But when I learned a few simple tweaks within 30 days, my health went from just feeble and just debilitating, not being able to function in life and show up for my kids, show up for my family, my friends, myself. And when I found this answer and implemented it, a lot of times we get information and we don't do anything, we don't write it down. And I took it, I followed it exactly the way he said, and I became a totally different person. And it motivated me to get into the space of helping others advocate for themselves, learn, and you too can be well. I know you can.
Wow. Hold up. So that's amazing. But you know what stood out to me there? Okay. I'm looking at you right now. You look very, very young. A heart attack. They thought you were having a heart attack. How is that possible?
Um, Daniel, for the 20 years that I was suffering, I had chronic stomach pain. I had lethargy. They said I had arthritis and cystic acne. The list goes on and on and on. And a lot of times doctors say that these are comorbidities, meaning that they live within us separately, but really they're all collective one. And it's all from the gut. 95% of all autoimmune disease is from the gut. So I was having horrible symptoms, bent over, and this was in and out of the ER was something very regular for me, with all these pains. And so this time it was so intense, and it was in my chest that, a lot of times they say women are undiagnosed from heart attacks because we can take pain and we're used to that. And I remembered hearing that, and I thought, like, this is so bad. And this was the second time within 1 month, and this time it was horrible. And I went in and they admitted me to the hospital, and I had an opinion from a doctor at night, and I had an opinion from one in the morning. And I said, I want a third opinion. And I didn't like any of them. I'm very
Wow.
stubborn.
You and me both sometimes.
Yeah. And I just said, you know what? There's more. And that nurse was my angel. that whispered in my ear and gave me the hope that I had been looking for over 20 years. And doctors had never told me any of that. And there is a need for Western medicine. However, a lot of the Western medicine doctors are not given that information during their school. It's only a couple of hours that they get on nutrition training.
Wow.
On my podcast, I had a Harvard medical doctor talk about this, and it's mind-boggling the outcomes that we can get from our bodies if we give a little bit of love. Our bodies respond tenfold and even more. So to me, that knowledge lit me up, and it lights me up today that I can see it. I see people transform all the time, and it just takes a little knowledge and discipline and writing it down and following it through for most of the time. You don't have to be 100% of the time, but 80-20, 90-10, show
Yeah.
up.
Well, you know what you're saying, ladies and gentlemen, think about this. What stood out with what Colette said, do you love yourself enough to make the changes you need to make?
Mhm,
Do you love yourself enough, ladies and gentlemen? I love what Colette just said is she heard the information, but if she would have just put it on the shelf,
mhm.
nothing would have changed. She would have still been ill and in pain. I can't imagine Colette being in pain for 20 years. And the thing is, there's so many people listening and watching this right now that they're in pain, whether it's emotionally, physically, but
Mhm,
they just tolerate it. They don't, you said a key word, love, right? You
mhm.
have to love yourself enough to make the changes. What was going through your mind? You get the diagnosis because it's a key factor what you said. So many people hear the information, but the truth is no action, no results.
Yeah.
What really caused you to really take action and to really just love yourself enough? Because it hurts me when I see people that they don't love themselves enough to make the changes they need to make.
Yeah. Well, let me just take you a step back to when I was a little girl, and I'm one of 9 children. I was second oldest, and I was the mom, and I was helping raise my younger siblings, and I didn't get the sleep that I needed. We were surviving in our family. My parents were doing the best that they knew how, but I wasn't getting enough sleep, which left me sick all the time. I was on antibiotics constantly. My 4th grade year, I had strep throat, tonsillitis 7 times in 1 year. So, flash forward, I know that all these doses of antibiotics destroyed my gut, my microbiome, my ancestral DNA, and my body had to rebuild. So, when I was at home living in the country around horses, cows, siblings, dirt, I was getting the microbiome of the earth, and it sustained me. When I went off to college in a sterile environment, that is when I took a nosedive because I no longer had the microbiome of the earth surrounding me and giving to me. And so this is where I started going downhill. So living in this chronic state of pain, you become numb. You don't know what it feels like anymore to feel good. And what really drove me to seeking answers was I had 2 children. I had my first at 30, my second at 35, and I I wanted to be there for them. And sometimes I was so sick I couldn't show up for them like I wanted. And I couldn't understand because I was young. And
Yeah.
why was I feeling so not good? And there it just didn't add up in my mind. And so I kept searching, kept pushing, and asking questions and reading information and attending seminars, and everything people would offer me, I would take, investigate, regurgitate, try. And I did the gluten-free, and I did a white diet, and I did a lemonade diet. I did everything, and nothing worked. And so when this nurse told me, "You have leaky gut," I thought, "That's something I've never heard. And I'm going to pursue that because it resonated, like something lit up in my soul." And that's another thing.
Yeah.
When we can tune into ourselves and feel, when we get around somebody, we get information, energy, we feel it inside. We feel like, wow, this speaks to me. Or, you know what? I don't want that around me. And there's setting healthy boundaries too. And whether it's, a bad relationship or a bad work environment, but we know intuitively what's going on. And we need to be able to step down, listen to it, and not push that little voice down. But for me, to answer your initial question, it was my children. I wanted to be there for them and be the best mom and be able to travel the world with them and provide for them and enlighten them in this world and share my wisdom, my knowledge, my passions, and so that they could show up the best in this world, to do what they're meant to do. So that was my driving factor.
Well, you said something interesting. Actually, this past weekend, I didn't even realize that Mari has this app on her phone, and we used to go hiking a lot. And back in 2021, I had just gotten back from Asia, speaking over in Asia, had a big speaking engagement here in Texas, and I went on this jog, freak accident. I fell down. I almost broke my
Mm,
ankle.
wow.
So I couldn't walk for 3 months. Literally, I had a scooter, and it was really a humbling time just for
Mm,
me. So we got away from hiking, but we used to hike almost 3 times a month. Every Sunday, we would go early in the morning before church. And I tried to do it again, and little by little, my ankle just wasn't up to it. So we went hiking this past Sunday, and when she looked at her app, she goes, it was over a year. It was actually a year and 1 month. And I said, because I was tired, right? Even though I work out, there's something amazing when you go out to the trails and you really go up those little cliffs. And they're not, I mean, they're pretty steep, but they're not to say monstrous. But man, we were done. I really struggled with the hike, but I pushed myself. But I felt there was an energy that I felt that I don't feel in the gym.
mm,
So you
mhm.
mentioned something about nature. How important is it to get to connected out there in whether you hike in the woods or just go out there to a park and I don't know, say that word you said earlier.
That's a great question. And let me share with you some scientific data. In Sweden, they had a study and they wanted to look at children that were in preschool. And they studied those in sterile environments and they studied those that went to preschool in nature and they were
So do
able
me
to
a
take
favor,
their,
just for the audience. So to
yes.
describe a sterile environment, that way somebody's listening to this. What is a sterile environment for those that don't know?
Um, let's start preschool for a second. So if you walk into a preschool and they're like, pump, pump, here's your hand sanitizer. All the toys are, sterilized every day and kids have to constantly, wash their hands and don't take your shoes off and they don't get to go outside. They're on a concrete cement and they're not playing in the dirt, in the sand, in the grass, feeling that mud on their hands. And when that mud dries, it's a tactile experience. You're developing these synapses in the brain that create pathways that lead to better, greater learning. And so when you're constantly like, no, don't get dirty, don't touch the grass, don't play in the sand, don't paint your body. My children went to Reggio preschools and my younger daughter would all the way down to the underwear and she would paint her body with paint, pink, purple, blue, whatever. And they would get in the sand and just dig in and they were just a mess. She would come home dirty and
That
I
sounds
loved
like
it.
me.
I loved it. It's the best thing. So back to the study, they had kids that were in this sterile environment where everything was always clean and they were always, keep your shoes on and then you have these kids that are kind of in nature and they walk in and they're welcome to take off their shoes and they have a communal table where they sit around and they're passing snacks to each other and the pitcher of water and they go outside and they're digging in the dirt and they're exposed to they might have a worm farm and they might have pets in the preschool and that they can just touch and interact with. So when they looked at these two groups, they found that the children in the group that was in touch with nature, their microbiome was more diverse and they were happier.
Wow.
than the kids in the sterile environment. So there's such a thing. There's a thing called grounding. So walking outside, putting your feet on the ground, in the grass, on the dirt, touching a tree. We receive energy from nature, and it's proven. Everything is energy. So when we allow ourselves to be in nature and exposed, and I learned that organically growing up in the country. I didn't know, and I didn't understand, why did I get so sick when I went off to college? I didn't know. But one of the first lessons I learned in college was I need sleep. If I don't get sleep, I get sick. And I didn't understand that growing up at home, because I did what my
Mm.
parents told me, and I followed with the tribe and what everybody was doing, and I didn't correlate that. So then now looking back and seeing how I grew up, I understand that all these antibiotics um were they didn't affect me as bad, because I did have that nature experience and being exposed to the elements and environment.
No wonder I was such a happy kid, because when I was a kid, you know what I used to love to do? I used
What?
to love to climb trees. I was a
Oh,
I loved it
love
so
it.
much. Yes, I mean, I was always in the tree house, or just we would play tag in the trees. I mean, we would jump from tree to tree. There was this back row of trees. Literally, there was like three big trees, and
Uh-huh.
they, I mean, I don't know how big they were, but when you're a kid, right, they're humongous.
Yeah.
But we would jump from limb to limb. And one time, just being adventurous as I was always, now it explains why I was always happy. But I missed the limb. Unfortunately, I fell down. I had to go to the hospital for a week because I had a kidney
Oh.
block. But it makes sense because you're out there just
Hmm.
with what you said. I thought about an article I read that if you use hand sanitizer too much, it actually hurts your body because it brings down your immune system. And that's what you
Well,
mean by right or something like
yeah.
that.
So if you're using hand sanitizer, you're destroying you're destroying the good and the bad bacteria. And unfortunately, the good bacteria is not as strong, kind of. I'm just giving it in kind of layman's terms, as the bad
Yeah,
bacteria. So the bad bacteria can take over and overtake your microbiome of your hand. And so then you're going to have this negative, off balanced environment. And there is good and there is bad, quote unquote, but they work in harmony together as long as they're balanced. So as so in life, if we get imbalanced, then things get off kilter.
yeah,
And so it's that everything in moderation. The Bible talks about that. And really keeping that balance and educating ourselves, wisdom, talking, having these conversations. How can we improve? What can we do to improve? And there's so much information out there that a lot of people would rather sit down and watch a Netflix series than turning it on and watching something about what is the food I'm eating? How is it hurting me today? How can I live to 120 and be really healthy and vibrant? What does it take? What are good oils I should put in my body? How much sugar should I consume? What do grains do for me? Why does everybody talk about gluten free? What does that mean? It's just a fad. It's, like
yes.
there's so
Well, you
many
know what?
things.
It's not a fad because I'll never forget. I was watching a YouTube channel, a show, and ever since I watched it, I cut out so much processed foods.
Good for you.
And people don't understand when it says enriched bread, it's not really enriched bread. They just shoot it with chemicals, and those chemicals, your body can't digest it. They don't
Mhm.
understand that.
Yeah.
And I used to like to eat like cereal bars and just stuff like that because I was on the go. But processed foods is man-made. Your body can't it can't process it. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I remember that. And just the other day, I was watching another video because right, just kind of being around you and just different
Hmm.
people, different conversations. Jelly beans. If people knew what jelly beans were
Ah.
were covered with, they would never eat it. I'm never gonna eat a jelly bean again, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know why? Because it's made with the shiny thing around the jelly bean part is actually the shell of the cockroach, something like that. It's nasty. It's like, like, come on. Like, and if you knew what Pringles were made of, I'm never gonna eat a Pringle again. I never. But
Yeah.
people, I just want to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you're not feeling good. Maybe you're that entrepreneur, that business owner. You're always tired, but you never take time to really eat a good meal. Maybe you need to be listening to what Colette say. Maybe after the show, you need to give her a call, reach out to her because we're gonna have her information. But if you take junk in, you're gonna put junk out, and that junk's gonna be the way you feel. And you're wondering why you can't sleep. You're wondering why you're always fatigued. Have you really thought about what the hell am I eating? What the heck are you eating, ladies and gentlemen? Like, you got to get serious, because if not, you're killing yourself. And and I'm guilty, because I love Diet Coke, and I've really been trying to get away from it. It's addicting, but I've been really trying to pray to get away from that, because I know the chemical in Diet Coke, my body can't digest it, and it's really hurting me in the long run. I'm going to be 50 this year, and I tell myself I'm getting younger and younger and younger, but I got to really do actions to be okay, right? I've been drinking intensely. I've been drinking more water and dinner to really take away that flavor and that addiction, right? Because people don't realize it. In all these processed foods, I would think, and you can tell us, maybe you know more than I do, they put these little addiction things like cigarettes, right? Nicotine is in cigarettes, but I believe they put these sweeteners in different processed foods, and you get addicted to that stuff.
It's really fascinating if you drill into it, and any kind of food you'll see on labels, like it's really healthy, organic, flip over the package and there's natural flavors. Natural flavors are derived from usually natural products that are chemically processed. And the really fascinating thing is if you're a vegan and you're eating vegan bacon, and it says natural flavors, you're actually eating pig, because it's a natural flavor derived from pork that they've chemically altered to enhance the flavor. And so there's so many hidden things. Sugar. Daniel, do you know how many grams of sugar you should have per day?
Probably two, and I probably have 1,000. I'm
Okay.
guessing, I used to eat a
Okay.
lot of
That's
cereal, and I got away from cereal because when I hired my trainer 2 years ago, actually we're going on 2 years already. He goes, no more cereal at night, because I would, no matter what it was, I would like to eat a bowl of cereal before I went to bed. He goes, dude, it's nothing but junk and chemicals, and it's kind of defying the workouts that we're doing.
yeah. So for men, 36 grams, which is 9 teaspoons. Women, it's 24 grams or 6 teaspoons. And just knowing that little piece of information, start looking. A banana has about 15 grams. So if you're a woman, you're more than halfway to your daily limit with just a banana. So a lot of
Wow.
people think that I'm going to have a smoothie in the morning and I'm going to have a banana and I'm going to put berries and I'm going to put mango and da da da. They're putting all this sugar in, and they've already consumed 3 times the amount of sugar of their daily allotment in just in the morning. So really being in tune with that. And when you're having diet drinks, the I have a whole episode on sweeteners, Daniel, that you should listen to. And
I
but
should, but I don't
basically,
think I want to, because I'm going to be like, ugh.
but it might kick you over the edge. And there's other things that you can drink. Find something that resonates with you. But the sweeteners get into your gut and you can't digest them. And not only can you not digest them, some stay behind and live forever. They can't get out of your body, and they absorb the water content. And so you're deprived, and they pull out nutrients that are beneficial for you. And it creates both bloating and inflammation. And when you understand the dark side, I would say if you want to kick it, do a deep dive into what are sweeteners, and you would be better off drinking regular Coke and monitoring that than drinking diet. I'll just tell you that much.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Oh man, you're gonna make me go dump out all my diet. Actually, we don't have that
I hope
many.
so, because then you'll say, Colette, thank you. I appreciate you even more.
Well, I'm going to get a little gross here, but this is the truth. And Colette, correct me if I'm wrong, but when she said artificial sweeteners, everybody's heard of vanilla, right? When I
Mhm.
found out where vanilla comes from, artificial vanilla, it's gross. I don't know if you know or not, but
The beaver.
a beaver, ladies and gentlemen, when you eat vanilla ice cream, I'm never going to have vanilla ice cream again. It comes from a beaver's butt. Yes, a beaver's butt. You don't believe me? Google it. You're
Yeah.
eating stuff that's nasty. Like, I was like, vanilla is what? I go, no way. And the thing is, the natural sense of a beaver's, right? Kind of going to the bathroom.
Hmm.
It smells like vanilla. It's sweet. And that's
Yeah.
what they use. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So today,
I
so
mean,
what
people
they've
think
done,
like I'm laughing, but it's serious stuff.
so that's a natural flavor. So they take it, they concentrate it, they chemically alter it, process it, and they sell it as, yeah, natural flavoring. So, but it's actually not even vanilla, right? But they sell it as if, and unless you've done research and you know that fun fact, you don't know. And take that and multiply it across everything you're eating, and then look at the food coloring that the additives, the chemicals, burgers, they have fragrances that smell like the most beautiful barbecue, and it's not even that much meat. It's it's all
Yeah.
processed. It's a fragrance that you're smelling. And it's really fascinating. So if you can start to just pay attention, and for me, I think sugar is the most addictive substance in studies in the labs. If they give a mouse cocaine or sugar every day, all day long, they choose sugar over cocaine. And we know that cocaine is an addictive substance, and sugar is a more addictive substance. And so, knowing that, now that you all know, write down that number: women 24, men 36. Look at everything you're eating. Everything. If it doesn't have a label on it and you're eating a cup of uh, blueberries, look it up. How much sugar does a cup of blueberries have in
So
it?
let me
Try
ask
to,
you this. So
yeah.
because me and Marty, like, right, we went hiking, like I said,
Hmm.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So we got it's called the Hulk at there. So they opened up a lot of Smoothie Kings in San Antonio. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know what Smoothie Kings in, but it's like you go there, it's a smoothie shop. They put bananas. Exactly what you're saying. I'm thinking like
Yeah.
that was me Sunday after our hike. What was just a 20 ounce one? We didn't get the big one. How much sugar do you think, or would you say a smoothie with banana? It actually had banana in it.
Did it have mango? Like, what else was in it?
It was just chocolate and it was chocolate and banana. That's all it was. 20
Um,
ounces.
my guess would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 60.
So I'm done. I'm already done with my sugar. I'm already past the limit at
Oh,
that
you've
point.
already passed it. Yeah. So if you're drinking a smoothie and it's sweet, you probably had your daily allotment. I just did an episode today on juice cleanses. There's a lot of people are like, "Oh, Colette, I'm doing a juice cleanse." I'm like, "Great, send me the bottle. Flip it over, send me a picture of the ingredient list, and one like green drink that is sweet has 26 to 35 grams in a little tiny juice that's you're supposed to be drinking 4 of those a day, 5 of those a day. So
Wow.
if you're having one daily allotment in a drink times 4 or 5, you're way over. And the average American is consuming uh, an average 89 pounds of sugar per year. And back in the 1800s, the average consumption was 6.5 pounds per year. So we have
Wow.
just skyrocketed in our consumption of sugar, and it's almost by design, because every processed food has added sugar, and they've created these pellets within us that demand sugar, and the companies are really happy because they want their sales to be up, and they want to create addicts, and that's what they're doing. So be smarter than them.
Well, you know what I love what you did is you took your passion. And ladies and gentlemen, just think about this. So many of us, so many times we put so much pressure on ourselves. We're not happy at work. We're tired of our job. We've been at a dead end job for 20 years and you don't retire because you're waiting to get your watch. Buy your own damn watch. Do what Colette did. Listen to the passion of what she's talking about. And the reason I bring this up, ladies and gentlemen, because maybe you're going through a season where you're not happy where you're working at, or maybe you're not happy with what you're doing in life, where you're at. She took her passion and Colette turned everything she's talking about into a business.
Hmm.
She started a podcast. She's doing coaching. She's doing so many things. Where did the light come on from that? Because I love the way, right? Because you were doing this because you were just trying to save your damn life. Like you were trying,
Yeah.
like I got 2 kids. I don't want to be in pain. The light went on for you. You took immediate action. And then the shift came where you, right? Well, I don't know if you ever thought about becoming an entrepreneur when you were younger, but it turned into an entrepreneurship journey How did that happen? Like, where did that was brilliant. Like,
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting, and it wasn't. I- I'll tell you the story. So, I've always been an entrepreneur since I was little, and I had a consulting business for years. I was in the corporate world for 10. I worked in technology and medical sales, and had kids, and I said, I'm done. Like, I need out. And so before then I had started consulting and building up a clientele, and I was traveling all over the world. But I would try to make them short trips because I always wanted to come back to my kids. And I woke up one night, I remember, for the first time, and I didn't know what city I was in, what time zone. And I had to look at my phone to look at my calendar to see, where am I today? And I just thought, this is horrible. I was in a really bad relationship at the time. And it was just kind of, everything was crumbling in on me, my health, my travel with my job, and my relationship. And I wanted it to change, and I needed to change. And as I went into going through a divorce, I said, something has to change, and I can't continue to travel like this and be there for my kids like I want. And one of my friends said, well, what do you talk about all the time? And I said, how to be well. I tell everyone about my story of, I changed. Like, just all you have to do is make some simple changes in your lifestyle, and you too can have this amazing life. And people that knew me before cannot believe how healthy I am today. People that know me today can't imagine what I was before. That's how transformative it was for me, and what lit me up. And I just talked about it all the time. The doctor that healed me, I sent him over 50 people, and I just kept sending and sending and sending and sending. Some of them didn't even need to go. Like, they were kind of mild. And I thought, I could probably help people if I had some information. So I enrolled in a program, got a functional practitioner certificate, and just started a little at a time, opened an office in Beverly Hills that I have today, and just started helping people one by one, referrals. COVID hit. That allowed me to create an online program where I walk people through a 6-week deep dive into how they can create a new lifestyle, and one-on-one consulting. And through all this, my latest venture is creating a food product that is anti-inflammatory, that help people that say, Colette, I really want to change. I don't know how. I don't know what products to eat. I don't have time to cook for myself. How do I do it? And I kept hearing this over and over and over. And I do all of that for myself. I show up, I make things, I'm creative. I love it. It lights me up. And so um you'll
I
hear
love
probably
it.
Q1, I've got a product that I'm launching, and very excited about it. And it's going to make a huge impact in the world because it doesn't exist right now. And it's something that is so easy that we can, there's little things that we can do. You don't even need me to do that, but I just want to help facilitate the ease of getting into something that is sustainable, that you can do. And that really was my passion, and I followed it, and I would have so many amazing conversations. I'm part of the Global Wellness Summit, and I would meet these fantastic people from around the world. And so I thought, I'm having these conversations, and I can only share them one at a time. So that was the idea of the podcast, which took me a little over 2 years to launch because I'm, single mother. I'm doing all these different businesses, um and it took a while, but it's
But
out
you know
there.
what? But you're doing. You know what I love about you? You're doing it. Like,
Doing it. Yeah.
you're showing up
Yeah.
every single day. So
Yeah.
many people. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, listen to what she's saying. She was in so much pain that they thought she was having a heart attack first thing. That, and I can't imagine what type of pain that is. But crimson and a ball. I mean, you're in pain, and then just going through a separation, going through a divorce, starting all over again, and being there, changing her careers, right? So many of us, we're so scared of change that we stay in that job that we hate. We tolerate the very things that we hate.
Hmm.
Colette had the courage and the resilience to leave that. And then her passion, you can hear it in her voice. And look, the thing is, maybe it took you 2 years. It's okay. Like the fact
Okay.
is, you did it, right? You
Yep.
did it.
Did it.
That's what
Did
I
it.
love about you. You're so resilient. Do me a favor. There's someone listening right now. I believe there's a man and a woman, maybe several men and women that need to hear a word of encouragement from you, Colette, because they're tired of the life they have. They're tolerating it. They're suffering in their own misery. They're not happy. They're blaming everybody else. But the truth is, if they were to leave their job or just take one step, speak to that person for a minute, look in your camera and just really do me a favor, give them a word. Do Colette inspires for us.
That's it's easy. Number one. Um, my word that I hold on to all the time is hope. I want to give people hope that they can persevere and come through and come out the other end. And without hope, we don't have anything. So, what is your hope? What is your why? I think the first step in overcoming and being resilient, being tenacious, and sinking your teeth in is, what is your why? Why do you want this change? Why do you want to feel better? And if you tell me, oh, I want to look good at the beach this summer, I don't buy it, because what does that looking good at the beach mean for you? Does it mean that you can now join your friends and family? Does it mean you're opening yourself up to receiving the energy? Are you trying to call in your soulmate? Do you want to feel your best, look your best? Do you want to be able to travel around the world? Do you want to be there for your children and see your grandchildren and your great grandchildren and hold them on your lap? What does it mean to you? Um, so I say the first thing is dig into your why, plant that seed of hope that you can. I'm sharing my story so that you know that it's possible. I was sick. I was I was so down and out and weak, and it was so hard for me. I just felt like every day was just a struggle, like climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And it was a cycle, but I didn't stop, and I kept looking for answers. And I think the saddest thing that I see today is talking to people that were in my spot where I was, and they say, "Yeah, Colette, that's nice. I could never do that." So for me, I was waiting my lifetime to get the answers. And when I got them, I I skyrocketed. It was like a slingshot. I was pulled way far back. And then once I had the answers, I let go and I never looked back. I do look back sometimes just to remember what it felt like, so I can feel that the pain and where I was. And once you understand what you can do to change and how easy it is to change, you don't want to go back there. You don't want to suffer. You don't want to feel that. Why do you want to do that? So people say, "Do you miss eating bread or eating pizza?" And I'm not about gluten free. I'm just about grains. And I understand that a lot of them are very, very hard for our bodies, and they take out, they don't add to us, but they take out vitamins and nutrients that we need. And people think eating oatmeal every day is great. It's really not. And on occasion, okay. But it's these little simple things that people don't know, because the FDA is telling us, what they say is good. And if we can drill in and we can start taking steps and listening to our body, and it's not a temptation, Daniel. For me, I used to drink Diet Coke all the time. I stopped when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I'm happy I did. And I think that once you understand the why behind, then you're like, you know what? I don't want to go back there. It's not even appealing or appetizing whatsoever. And there are so many other options. And there's so many great things out there, and ways that we can show up for ourselves that will make such a transformation and let you show up in life the way you want. And if you don't want that, then maybe you do want to stay a victim. Maybe you want to stay there and wallow in it, but don't complain.
I
If
love
you've
your
listened to this
passion.
episode and you want to stay there and complain about your health, but not take action, then stay there. It's fine, but you don't need to. I'm just telling you, like, the answers are there. There's so much research in science, and we have so much information that it's just not necessary unless you want to be there. And if that's where you want to be, then okay, that's fine.
I think in that moment that you just spoke right there, we found the title for this episode, Finding Your Hope. I
Mm.
love that.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's so many people right now that feel hopeless, are hopeless,
Mhm.
and they've given up.
Yeah.
They've tapped out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this episode and you have a family member that maybe they give up on just their health, they give up on life, they're hopeless right now. I get it. There's a lot of despair out there in the world, but remember, when you put God first, God leads you to an answer. And maybe Colette's episode, this episode right now, you're finding your hope in the word she's saying. And she's not being mean. She's just speaking from the passion that she has because she was in agony. And I say agony, I can't imagine 20 years of pain going through that. And maybe you feel the same way. You're like, it's not worth living. You've given up, right? The truth is maybe you died at 30 years old, but you're 60 and you're still living, but you died when you were 30. Maybe you're 50
Mm.
and you died when you were 25 because you just gave up, you stopped caring. Maybe that's you.
Mhm.
Inside you died and you're just going through the motion. Well, this is the episode that's giving you hope. I've never said this on an episode, but you need to share this episode with someone who needs to hear this one. Maybe it's just tweaking their diet and being
Mhm.
aware of what the hell are you eating? And you're
Mhm.
wondering why you're fatigued and not focused. And it could be as simple as just changing a couple. So talking about that, right? You start your business. What's been the greatest reward in everything that you're doing, Colin?
The freedom to be with my daughters whenever I want.
Love that.
That's just they're my everything. And I my oldest one's in college now, and I see the beautiful, beautiful woman that she's becoming. I mean, physically she's gorgeous, but it's not that. It's the spirit inside, and she's studying psychology, and we have talks every single day, and just being able to be there and make dinner, nourish my children, show them what a family meal is like. By the way, if you're not having family meals, shame on you. I want to
Yes.
I want to reprimand you, because you need to be sitting with your kids, teaching them how to talk, how to ask questions, explore their day, their feelings, um, teach them how to show up for themselves, make them interesting people, be that light for them. So that for me is the most beautiful thing. The other is
Well,
obviously,
do you know why your daughter's amazing and beautiful on the inside? Because she has a pretty epic mom.
oh, thank you. Thank
You
you.
are. I mean, you just you really care about people, and when you really care about people, everything else just takes off, right? So many businesses fail because people don't care about the people. And what you're saying, think about, I mean, listen to what Colette's saying. You can tell she cares because she's having dinner with her daughters.
Hmm.
It's little things like that. We wonder why our kids are trying to find a sense of belonging in a gang, in a relationship that's toxic because they're not getting it from mom, they're not getting it from dad.
Yeah.
And I
Hug
love that you
them.
said that. Like that's an important part of health.
Yeah. And I, and that's obviously the thing that I love the most. And obviously the other thing is just helping others and giving hope. That word hope is my word. I want to give hope that people can change, and they can. And one other thing with my girls, I've always told them two things. Number one, I love you always and forever, no matter what. No matter what. They're like, even if I kill someone, even if you kill someone, I don't care. You're not going to do that.
But
But
don't kill
whatever.
someone.
Number two, I say, tell me everything. Never be afraid of me if you tell me something. If you don't tell me something, be very afraid. And that is stuck with them. They bring their friends to me that are afraid to talk to their parents. and their friends will tell me things that, sometimes my head's spinning, and I just sit there with an open mind and I listen with an open heart and be that safe space. But they know that they can talk to me, and talking to your kids, having teenagers doesn't have to be the end of the world. Yes, there's a lot of emotions, um, hormones, all this, in friendships, and everything is a big deal. But if you have that open communication and you establish boundaries of respect, and you don't want to talk to me right now, that's okay. Let's pick a time. It might be later tonight, it might be tomorrow, but we're going to circle back and we're going to talk about this again, but I will respect your space. And being able to communicate that, because we teach our children boundaries in life, in how we show up for work and relationships. And so it's all tied: mind, body, soul. The food is a little component of it, which I think can drastically change you and put you on that trajectory of just everything that you want. And when you get your food in check, then there's also the correlation with the brain and the mind. There's a gut brain access through the vagus
Yeah.
nerve. And when we're eating bad, then our body releases it. We have these tight junctions in our gut, and they hold all the bad stuff in. So if we're eating a lot of gluten, for example, with glyphosate and pesticides, these tight junctions open, cytokines that should stay in the stomach leach out into the bloodstream, up through the blood-brain barrier into the vagus nerve and into the prefrontal cortex, where it creates depression, symptoms of depression. And it's not even that we're depressed, but our body chemically thinks it's altered, and it creates this. So getting your food in check creates a healthy mind, and then you can make better choices and you can show up the way that you want to. So it's all interlinked and interwoven, and just, give yourself, like, if you can start with the sugar, you're halfway there.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but I'm gonna definitely work on it. Let's I could talk to you forever. I'm loving this episode. If somebody, first of all, tell us the name of your podcast. So, tell us the name of your podcast, and if somebody wants to connect with you, Colette, how can they get a hold of you and connect with you?
So the name of my podcast is Limitless Healing with Colette Brown, and you can find it on all platforms. It is the labor of love and my passion, and it provides hope. And I talk about all these topics, so you can find anything. I'm publishing my 50th episode in 4 weeks from now, so it's very
Woo!
exciting. I know. And I guess the best way, Instagram, you can connect with me at Wellness by Colette, my website, wellnessbycolette.com. And I am going to be sharing some exciting news coming up. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. I love to help others. I love to share. I'm constantly sharing information of how to be well. And you can find all that on my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, but I'm more active on Instagram.
So, do me a favor, give us when Colette is having those challenging days, what's a what's a quote or a scripture she relies on in those times of adversity? A quote or a scripture that you fall back on when you just need that little momentum for yourself.
I love philosophy, and the philosopher Socrates said it best: know thyself. Two words, deep. And when you can sit back and know yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally, you're in tune, and you can listen, and you can see when you're off, when you're doing well. So know thyself. Examine who you are, and whatever lens that's through, if it's through religion or spirituality or just getting in tune, know thyself. That's a passion. And the other thing I want to leave you with is, they say that some people give up their health to build their wealth, and then spend their wealth to get their health. So what trajectory in life do you want to be on? Do you want to build at the expense of your health and then spend your wealth on your health as you get older? Or do you want to do it together? build your health and your wealth, enjoy it, thrive in the world, and just show up the best that you can be so you can share your gifts.
Wow. This was, I mean, geez, I don't even want to let go, but it's like, man, we need to have a second episode with this. And it was so amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, go back and review your notes, right? So much was shared from health and you, and just really, where in life are you right now?
Mm.
I think what really spoke to me was her closing words is, do you know yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where you are in your health? Do you know where you are in your wealth? And maybe your health and your wealth when it comes to, but how are your relationships? Are you having dinner with your kids, that she said? Do you have that communication with your daughter where you talk to her every day? Do your kids want to talk to you?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. The scripture that comes to mind is, what good does it do you to gain the whole world at the cost of your life? What good does it do you that of your family?
Mm-hmm.
Go back and review the notes you wrote down. Listen to this episode again. Colette dropped some massive wisdom. Colette, thank you again, man. It's just been amazing. And we're going to have all her information, ladies and gentlemen, in our show notes, and you'll be able to get a hold of her, this beautiful soul here. And just thank you so much. And until next week, we'll be here with another amazing episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show with another guest. And remember, if you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, go to my website, danielgomezglobal.com. That's danielgomezglobal.com. Do our entrepreneurs assessment there. That's my gift to you. And go to our website, themakingsofamillionairemind.com. Get your autographed copy. If you're in the States, I want to send you an autographed copy. That's The Makings with an S, themakingsofamillionairemind.com. Our book has been helping thousands of people, so get your autographed copy today. And lastly, I want to see you at our boot camp. Yes, I can't wait to see you at our boot camp, May 26th and 27th, here in San Antonio at the Norris Conference Center. Colette's going to be there, and other Dr. Rob, Kelly, Brian Covey, myself. I'll tell you what, lives are going to be impacted. And I want to see you in San Antonio, May 26th and May 27th here at our Makings of a Millionaire Boot Camp. Until next week, we'll see you here again with another amazing guest. Once again, thank you, Colette, on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to danielgomezinspires.com and get your copy today. That's danielgomezinspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.